Chapter XXII Return and Recurrence. A man is what his life is. If a man does not work upon his own life, he is miserably wasting his time. Only by eliminating the undesirable elements which we carry in our interior can we make a masterpiece of our life. Death is the return to the beginning of life, with the possibility of repeating it again in the setting of a new existence. The diverse schools of pseudo-esoterist and pseudo-occultist type maintain the eternal theory of successive lives. Such concept is mistaken. Life is a film. Once the showing is over, we wind the film back into its reel and take it to eternity with us. Re-entry exists. Return exists. When we come back to this world, we project the same film, the same life, on the gambling table of existence. We can establish the thesis of successive existences, but not of successive lives, because the film is the same. The human being has a 3% of free essence and a 97% of essence bottled among the is. When returning, the 3% of free essence is totally impregnated in the fertilized ovum. Unquestionably, we continue in the seed of our descendants. Personality is different. There is no tomorrow for the personality of the deceased. Personality slowly dissolves at the mausoleum or cemetery. Only the small percentage of free essence is reincorporated in the newborn baby. This gives the child auto-consciousness and inner beauty. The diverse is which return, revolve around the newborn child, freely come and go everywhere they would like to get into the organic machine, but this is not possible as long as a new personality has not been created. It is suitable to know that personality is energy and that it is formed with experience throughout time. It is written that personality has to be created during the first 7 years of childhood and that posteriorly it is strengthened and fortified with all the experiences of practical life. The is start to intervene within the organic machine little by little as the new personality is being created. Death is a subtraction of fractions and, once the mathematical operation is finished, only the values continue, that is, the good and bad is, useful and useless ones, positive and negative. In the astral light, values repel one another in accordance with the laws of universal magnetization. We are mathematical points in space, which serve as vehicles for specific sums of values. These values, which serve as the basis for the law of recurrence, always exist within the human personality of each one of us. Everything happens again just as it happened, plus the result or consequence of our former actions. Since many is from former lives exist within each of us, we can emphatically state that each of them is a different person. This invites us to understand that large numbers of people with different commitments lie within each of us. A true den of thieves exists within a thief's personality. A real club of murderers exists within a murderer's personality. A house of call exists within a lecher's personality. A full brothel exists within a prostitute's personality, etc. Each one of those persons which we carry within our own personality has his problems and his commitments. People living within people, persons living within persons. This is indisputable, irrefutable. What is grave in all this is that each of these persons or is which lie within us comes from former existences and has specific commitments. An I, which in the previous existence had a love affair at the age of 30, in the new existence will wait until that age for manifesting and, when the moment arrives, it will seek the person of its dreams. It will get in telepathic contact with that person and, eventually, a reenacted rendezvous and repetition of the scene will take place. The I, which at the age of 40 was at law with someone over material goods, in the new existence will wait until such age for repeating the same bustle. The I, which at the age of 25 fought another man in the pub or in the bar, will wait in the new existence until the new age of 25 to seek his opponent and repeat the tragedy. The is of both fellows seek one another by means of telepathic waves and then rendezvous again with each other to mechanically repeat the same. Really, these are the mechanics of the law of recurrence. This is the tragedy of life. The diverse characters meet again across thousands of years to reenact the same dramas, comedies and tragedies. Human personality is nothing else than a machine in the service of those is with so many commitments. What is the worst about this question is that all these commitments of the people whom we carry within are fulfilled without our understanding previously having any information. In this sense, our human personality resembles a cart pulled by multiple horses. There are lives of most exact repetition, recurrent existences which are never modified. In no way could the comedies, dramas and tragedies of life be repeated on the screen of existence, if the actors did not exist. The actors of all these scenes are the is which we carry within and which come from former existences. If we disintegrate the is of anger, the tragic scenes of violence inevitably come to an end. If we reduce the secret agents of covetousness to cosmic dust, its problems will totally finish. If we annihilate the is of lust, the scenes of brothel and of sexual morbosity will all finish. If we reduce the secret characters of envy to ashes, its events will radically conclude. If we slay the is of pride, of vanity, of conceit, of self-importance, the ridiculous scenes of these defects will draw to a close for lack of actors. If we eliminate from our psyche the factors of sloth, inertia and laziness, the horrifying scenes of this kind of defects cannot be repeated because of lack of actors. If we pulverize the sickening is of gluttony, of greed for food, then feasting, drunkenness, etc., will come to an end for lack of actors. Since these multiple is are lamentably processed at the different levels of the being, it is necessary to know their causes, their origin and the Christic procedures which eventually will have to lead us to the death of the myself and to final liberation. To study the intimate Christ, to study Christic esotericism, is basic when it is a matter of provoking a radical, definitive change within ourselves. This is what we will study in the following chapters. Chapter XXII. The intimate Christ. Christ is the fire of the fire, the flame of the flame, the astral sign of fire. The mystery of Christ is defined on the cross of the martyr of Calvary, with just one word consisting of 4 letters, INRI. Ignis Natura Renovator Eingram. Fire incessantly renews nature. The advent of Christ in the heart of man radically transforms us. Christ is the solar logos, perfect multiple unity. Christ is the life which throbs in the entire universe, is, what has always been and what will always be. Much has been said about the cosmic drama. Undoubtedly, this drama is formed of the 4 Gospels. We have been told that the cosmic drama was brought to the earth by the Elohim. The great Lord of Atlantis performed that drama in flesh and bone. The great Kabir Jesus also had to perform the same drama publicly in the Holy Land. Even if Christ is born 1,000 times in Bethlehem, it is of no use at all if he is not born in our heart too. Even if he had died and risen from the dead on the 3rd day, that is of no use if he does not die and resurrect in ourselves too. To try to discover the fire's nature and essence is to try to discover God, whose real presence has always been revealed under igneous appearance. The burning bush, Exodus 3:2, and the conflagration in Sinai, as a result of the conferring of the Decalogue, Exodus 19:18, are 2 manifestations by which God appeared to Moses. St. John describes the Master of the universe as in the figure of a being of jasper and sardonyx, the color of flame, sitting on a fulgurant, incandescent throne, Revelations 4:3-5. In his epistle to the Hebrews, St. Paul writes that our God is a consuming fire. The intimate Christ, the celestial fire, must be born within ourselves and is really born when we have advanced quite a lot in the psychological work. The intimate Christ must eliminate from our psychological nature the very same causes of error. The causes is. The dissolution of the causes of the ego would not be possible while the intimate Christ has not been born within ourselves. The living and philosopher's fire, the intimate Christ, is the fire of the fire, the pure of the pure. Fire envelopes and bathes us all over. It comes to us through the air, through the water and through the very earth, which are its preservers and its diverse vehicles. The celestial fire must crystallize within us. It is the intimate Christ, our deep inner Savior. The intimate Lord must take charge of the whole of our psyche, of the 5 cylinders of the organic machine, of all our mental, emotional, motor, instinctive and sexual processes.